Realtor.com, another California company, is exiting California and moving to Texas. What are their official reasons for leaving? We've heard them all, right? Let's see what they actually say. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Oracle, Tesla, and now Realtor.com. The online real estate services company is relocating its headquarters from California to Austin. Here to talk about this and real estate trends in Texas is CEO 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗍𝗡. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Rebecca.
So why is Realtor.com relocating to Austin?
It was an obvious decision, really. I mean, Texas is really the fastest growing economy in the United States. And from a technology perspective, Austin presents a real hotbed of some of the best technology talent in the world. It also presents a lifestyle for the community and the families that we're bringing to Texas, a really affordable and vibrant quality of living. So for us, it was just an obvious choice, and we're really now pleased to call Texas, and in particular Austin, our home.
As opposed to California with unaffordable housing, a dystopian attitude towards businesses. You know what I mean? Just, it's like, what are you guys doing? Just massive regulation in California and homes burning down. Yeah, I got that little factor in there. That's LA, not San Francisco. But yeah, you've just got this continuing trend, and it has to do with affordability and who's got the pro-business environment. Not California. Let's go with that for sure.
Leaving California for Texas has become a trend among large businesses, especially tech companies. Is Texas more attractive for business? And if that is the case, again, you gave us some reasons, but let's talk about some others.
Actually, of all states in America, the majority of migrants, internal migrants, to Texas are coming from California. And the three top reasons why they're doing that is, first and foremost, actually for affordable housing. Texas represents only 9% of the population of this country, but 15% of new home starts. It makes a massive difference. If you house the economy will grow. Secondly, they're coming for the climate, and third, for the job opportunities. So, we're really leaning into that opportunity by creating our head office here.
Today, Realtor.com released a new report showing Texas is the fastest growing state. What else did it find about housing trends in the Austin area?
Well, in the Austin area specifically, after the pandemic where housing prices and rents reached all-time highs, those prices have started to come off.
To the moon.
12 months, we've seen a decline of about 10% in terms of housing prices, but rent prices have declined even further. So not as affordable as it was pre-pandemic, but nothing really is. And now it's becoming more.
Everything has gone up, hasn't it? Everything has gone up. There isn't a location out there that's cheaper in price than pre-pandemic. Just not.
Affordable than ever, than recent years, at least, to rent or buy in Austin.
Going back to California, thousands of people lost their homes in the Los Angeles wildfires last month. Some will rebuild while others may leave. I mean, they also have had a housing shortage there as well, and this has created an even bigger problem. Is there any data yet showing where some of those people may be moving?
This is interesting.
That's exactly right. As the tragedy in California unfolded throughout January, we did see a big lift. In fact, something like a 40% lift in traffic from California to our site, looking at homes in Texas. So there's definitely an impact there. But on a longer term basis, really, California is not producing the number of houses that it really needs to produce in order to deal with the emerging and growing housing affordability crisis that's really impacting all of America.
All right. 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗧𝗛.
And none of the other big blue liberal cities in big blue liberal states, none of them are producing enough housing because they've got all these regulations and they want to hug trees. And there's all these things where they, don't cut that tree down, but we need affordable housing. We need more housing. We need more affordable housing, but don't cut that tree down. Literally, that's what you've got going on. So you can't have massive regulations and then expect to build levels of housing to the point where they're actually going to provide some affordability. It's gone. You're not going to have affordable housing anymore. Period. Done. You can't build your way out of this. Now, while California is cracking down on crime with tougher penalties under Proposition 36, it's clear that we're living in uncertain times, economically and socially. So with inflation climbing, government debt piling up, and policy shifting overnight, the real question is, how do you protect what you've worked so hard to build? It's exactly why I trust 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨, sponsor of today's video. To help secure my savings with gold and silver, 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨 has been a trusted name for over 27 years, handling $3 billion in transactions and earning thousands of 5-star reviews. They make investing in gold and silver simple and secure. In times like these, when crime is rising and government policies are unpredictable, precious metals are one of the most reliable ways to safeguard your wealth. Don't wait until it's too late to take action. Call 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨 today at 855-271-1871 or visit trylear.com/reasonable to get your free wealth protection kit. No obligation, just the information you need to shield your savings from inflation and instability. And here's the best part. If you open a qualified account, 𝗪𝗏𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨 will give you up to $15,000 in bonus coins to help you get started. That's 855-271-1871. Take control of your financial future today and make sure your money is as secure as your values. This is another story that I'm going to be recording today as well, and it has to do with what we just talked about. LA homes selling for half the price after fires. Used to be paradise. Well, when your home burns up, and what we're talking about now is we're talking about people wanting to get out, take whatever equity they've got out of their home, which is now rubble, which is now foundation, maybe a chimney if you're lucky. That's all that's left. And I believe those prices are literally selling for half. I think they're selling for a quarter of their market value, meaning the dirt is about a quarter of what their pre-fire value was. So people are taking massive discounts just to get out of LA. So watch for that podcast. Realtor.com moves headquarters to Austin. More than 500,000 jobs have been added to the region over the past 5 years. And you've got areas of the country where you've got a ton of jobs coming in, but all that does is basically put pressure on the housing market. We've got all kinds of jobs here. We've got all kinds of tech jobs in Bellevue. I mean, we've got Google, we've got Amazon, we've got Facebook, you name it, Expedia, we've got it here. Seattle, same deal. Massive Amazon presence in Seattle. But when employees come from other areas, they're just basically, we don't have the ability, Seattle doesn't have the ability to build its way out of the affordability crisis. You can't build enough homes to get to that point where your price drops. You might slow down the acceleration, but you're not turning back the wheels of time and getting cheaper homes. I remember homes being under $100,000 in Seattle all day long. That was pretty normal. Under $75,000, $50,000 in the University District in Seattle all day long. I had sheet upon sheet of printout of available homes for $50,000. That was like 1986, 1987, kind of when I was graduating from high school, kind of really getting into the real estate game. You had tons of affordable housing. Now, because of Microsoft, Amazon, and everything else, tech-wise, you've got a situation where you can't build your way out, whereas Texas can. Texas has one of those environments where they've got plenty of land and they've got the ability to grow in concentric circles and just basically develop their way into whatever they want. And like the guy from Realtor.com said, they've got 9% of the population of the United States, but they're building 15% of the housing. Texas, that kind of tells you where the real shift has happened. And that is, you've got a ton of new construction available and plenty more coming online because you've got flat land that doesn't have a bunch of native growth protection on it, doesn't have a bunch of wetlands. You might have some wetlands, but not like you've got, here in the Pacific Northwest, where if you've got a little bit of wetlands, oh, good Lord, there's some, frog in there that, oh, we can't develop that. Oh, that tree's 200 years old. We can't build on that lot, but give us more housing. We need more housing for our homeless people. You builders are the ones that are, making this so inexpensive. You guys, the builders are always to blame. They're the ones building. They're the ones always to blame. In Texas, that's not really how it goes. Oklahoma City, same thing. You got new construction at $300,000, nice homes, good family homes. Oh, we're not supposed to use that term anymore, are we? That's a term that we can't. Family home. Can't do that because, family might be just one person who's got, multiple genders in their head and, all kinds of just nuttiness, right? So, Realtor.com, they're following the lead of hundreds of other companies that have made the move in the last 2 decades. If you've been in Austin for more than a decade, you don't need to look further than the skyline to see how much the city has grown. I think a lot of people will be interested to know that this has been one of the top performing economies in the United States. The exodus, let's look at the exodus of Californians. This, somebody sent this to me. Thank you. I get all kinds of articles sent from you folks, and I look at them every single day. I never not look at them because that's where a lot of my content comes from. And maybe I don't use your particular article, but I will use something that you've sent that kind of lets me know, all right, we're on the right track here. This is what people want to see. So there's an email address somewhere in this video. I'm sure you can send me stuff, but check this one out. Look at this one. So this demographic is literally, this is showing the exodus. It'll start over here in a second. All right. Yeah, here we go. So you got these lines kind of showing where people are going. A massive one to Dallas right there, to Texas. You got Washington, you got Oregon, kind of West Coast, but they're literally going everywhere in the United States away from California. I don't think Gavin Newsom gets enough credit for this. This is Patrick Bet-David. He's the first governor in the history of California since 1851 to cause small business owners and free thinkers to leave for other red states. Got to respect his exodus game. I mean, you really do. Gavin Newsom has single-handedly created an environment, and it's built on leadership from, prior attorney generals, prior mayors, prior governors. I mean, just the political system in California has been so, we got to be progressive. Well, how's that working out for you? How's that working out for you? You've got yet another company moving out. Article goes on to say between 2018 and 2023, Austin added more jobs, more population, more gross domestic product than any other metropolitan area. He says in the last 20 years, more than 900 companies have moved into the region. 900 companies. It used to be Austin, Texas, and you're like, oh yeah, they got a little music scene going on there. I mean, it's Austin. It's kind of sleepy Austin. Whereas Dallas, the big D, has always been where the big business guys go to roll their dice, right? Hey, let's see if we can make this go, because it's just such a go, go, go environment. Dallas, I think, was always way ahead of Austin, but now you've got the tech industry in Austin. So, and just in the last 5 years alone, we've had over 100,000 jobs to the economy. And it's a testament just to the trajectory we're on. And if you haven't seen the way that they build in Texas, you've literally got this flat land you can see for miles, flat land, and they blow and go. You know why? Because they can. They can cut up massive developments. It's just basically, flat dirt. And yeah, you got to do a little bit of excavation, but it's not like here in Seattle where, you're up and down, mountains, Pacific Ocean, just all kinds of environmental nonsense to deal with. In Texas, they're literally building their way into, developing these massive, massive cities. So Realtor.com is the latest to make the move, joining other big names like Google, Samsung, and Amazon. We think they're a great fit in the region, 𝗪𝗧𝗛 said. They're coming here because they want access to the talent, to the resources, to the quality of life that Austin offers. Now, of those three reasons that are, I don't know, was he our CEO guy or just our relocation guy from Realtor.com? He was saying the weather. Yeah. Texas weather. If you're not from Texas and if you haven't dealt with Texas weather, it gets pretty hot in the summer and pretty cold in the winter. Just talked with my mom or texted with my mom. They're in Oklahoma City, and she said they're ready for winter to be over. So, you've got these late falls that happen in Texas, and then they kind of go from fall to spring to winter, and then you've got fall to spring to summer. Those happen super quick in springtime. You get this weather that just kind of comes, across the Great Plains and hits Oklahoma City, and they're like, well, it's going to be sunny for a while, or, hey, we're going to have a big tornado. Let's get ready. Let's get our tornado shelter ready. But the weather there, yes, you got sunshine, but it is just hot as heck in the summer. And that's why, coming from the Pacific Northwest, that's a tricky thing. I think more people come to the Pacific Northwest from California due to weather related issues, because anybody can get by here. That's why we've got so many homeless people here in Seattle. It's because it's moderate weather. Right now, we're having kind of a cold spell. What does that look like in Seattle? If we have something with the 2 in front of it, meaning in the 20s, that is cold. Where I know my folks in Chicago, they're like, yeah, it's -10 with the wind chill here, but it's just what we deal with. It might be 0 degrees outside. I asked one of my guys, hey, you been flying that drone? And he goes, no, it's like 0 degrees outside. I'm like, yeah, that's not drone flying weather, is it? We think they're a great fit in the region. Realtor.com. They're coming here because they want access to the talent, to the resources, to the quality of life that Austin offers. Here's more on why people are moving there. Texas has always been a very pro-business state. It always has, right? Whereas you got these knuckleheads running states in like California, Oregon, my state of Washington. These people just have their heads up their asses. Straight up. Just as far as they know nothing about business, nor do they want to know anything about business, because they literally blame corporations for all this nonsense. And they don't understand that, hey, you know what? Maybe those corporations are actually bringing jobs, which brings demand for real estate, which brings, you know what I mean? Just the whole ecosystem of business. They don't get that. They don't care. And they're like, we just want to hug the tree and praise be that the spotted owl made it through this development. Just a bunch of nonsense. You got people that are just, yeah. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? You've got a pro business development state like Oklahoma, like Texas, and then you've got Washington and Oregon. Not pro-development, exact opposite. So you're only going to have folks moving here that can afford very expensive homes if they want to live here for, long term. Governor Abbott, but also Governor Perry too. Dr. Jones said, when we're looking at Texas and its business climate, part of its history is that going back decades, they're pro-business. Yeah, it's Governor Greg Abbott has worked hard to prevent policies that threaten that image. And Abbott has worked super hard at protecting the United States. The United States, because that Texas border, so much of that Texas border is on the Mexico border, right? Protected Americans from the incoming illegal immigrants, the criminal illegal immigrants that have just overrun the country during the Biden administration. That was an absolute crime. The way that went down. It's like, you're doing what? And go from 45-year lows of illegal immigration coming into the through the southern border. And then you go to record highs. It's like, come on. Texas has laid out a very pro-business, low regulation, pro-growth strategy. It's very attractive to businesses. Interesting, right? And then you've got Governor 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗠 trying to tell us that California is strong. Our economy is strong. Why are all the people leaving? Where are they all going? How about that demographic I just showed? Where are they all going? No, California is strong. California is resilient. We're going to rebuild. In fact, in one of the stories is we're going to get rid of all that, red tape regulations so you guys can build your homes faster. And you're left with, well, why do we have the regulation in place in the first place then? Why are we doing that? Well, because it's California. And, you just got to have a lot of nonsense, because if you don't have a lot of nonsense, it's not California. It's Texas. Oh, why don't we just go to Texas? It's what 𝗪𝗚𝗏 is saying as well. Those businesses are going to look at those business courts with the belief that they're going to be treated fairly in a case that involves, say, business versus labor, business versus consumers. That's a massive reason. It's the overall attitude towards business. We're here in Washington State. If you're a business owner, good luck with that. Look at how our governor handled things during the pandemic. Shut her down, shut her down, shut her down. Hunker down in your homes and hope you don't get the Rona. But get that job, get jabbed 23 times, get jabbed, get jabbed, get jabbed. I mean, that was, our governor was parroting what the feds were saying. Get the jab. Latson says that we don't have just state policies to thank for our growth in the region, but the entire culture in Austin too. I mean, yeah, it is the entire culture in Texas in general. It's Texas in general. It's so pro-development. It's so pro-reasonable. It's so pro-common sense. And that's why you hear, Governor Greg Abbott talk in Texas, and then you hear the governors here in Washington State, we need to stand up to ICE coming into our communities and just, taking out all the criminal illegal aliens. We need to protect them. Washington State has a right to protect criminals within our environment. What? What are you doing? You know what I mean? It's like, what is wrong with you? And yet the vast majority of Washingtonians, vast majority of Oregonians, vast majority of Californians, they believe that as well. How's that working out for them? Well, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗠 ain't moving into, somewhere else. They're going to Texas. And that's the reality that I think, most Democrats and most liberals can't quite work their way around, because they're facing it just straight up. Hey, here's the deal. You want to be successful in business, you might want to consider getting going in Texas. And that's what they're doing. 900 companies, right? Wild stuff. Thanks again for being here. Appreciate you watching. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.